Good afternoon. Thank you, CJ, for that great introduction. My name is Trisha, as he told you, and I'm here today to talk a little bit about Think Green. So without further ado, I am going to start sharing my screen. So welcome to this little presentation about all things green, things that make your homes and buildings green. All right, so how many of you are surfers? Are you all familiar with surfing? So I heard when I was, researching the title slide, I wanted to have something which is a green wave. And when I was researching the title slide, I found out there's something called a green wave in surfing terminology. So it's essentially an unbroken wave, and you ride on such a wave, and it's supposed to be an amazing experience. So there's a lot of science to it. You look at the wave, you place yourself just so on the water, and you look back at the wave coming in. There's an angle at which you have to, place yourself so you get the best ride possible on the green wave. And I think of unbroken and unspoiled. And I think of that as a very good key segue into our discourse about sustainability. So the green wave is here. Are you prepared for it? So we're going to talk about all things green and sustainable in terms of buildings. And I'm going to relate it to a little bit to the rest of the world, the context, bring the context of the rest of the world into this so that you'll find it more relatable. And then I teach one of the things that I teach for the National Association of Realtors is the international designation, the Certified International Property Specialist designation. So I have this global view of what trends are across the world and what other countries, developed countries are looking at. And that brings some of that into this presentation so that you'll understand that, climate change, sustainable thinking, it's not just a fad. It is here. It is here. It is the wave of the future. And if you do not ride it, you're going to be going under it. So again, the analogy of the wave, and I'm not a surfer, mind you. This is part of my Global Pathway series. I have several classes that I teach as this is my own material as part of my School of Real Estate, and I'm welcoming you all to share my journey. So the green wave of sustainable thought and the conscious decision making is moving across the world. So as I've told you, climate change is nothing new, and it has not been that way for a few decades. And when we look at the rest of the world, it is what I see is that a wave of conscious thought and decision making is changing leadership models across the world. In developed and developing countries, the thought is that we must leave the world in a better place for our future generations. The meaning of sustainability is just that, using resources for today, but with a view towards keeping a lot of it, as much of it as possible for our future generations. And so that is the description of sustainability. Developed countries, first world countries like Germany, Sweden, Japan, Switzerland, France, just some of the countries that have been in the forefront, and they embrace sustainable thinking and they embrace sustainable design. And we find then when some of these countries are ranked in terms of whether they are green thinking, and there are data sets, including our own US News and World Report, that ranks green countries according to what they do research studies. They kind of sample a group of, the last one they did was about 17,000 people, and they find out what the perception is in terms of green living, green thinking. And there is a lot of correlation to resource and use and how people are using resources. And sustainability has to be part of social thought as well as governance initiative. The thought process is moving towards not just sustainable, and it is also sustainable is now happening across the decision-making model. So The newer term in sustainability is ESG. So it's environmental, social, and governance, to break down ESG. So ESG initiatives, you will hear the term in ESG bandied around a lot. It has to do with the fact that, when you consider sustainability, if you have to promote it, you have to make people understand it. And only then will people uh, kind of adopt it as their way of life, as their way of doing things. So, but when I teach CIPS, it surprises me and my students that sustainability is not just for the developed countries. In the developing countries, many countries in Africa, many countries in Africa received their independence around the early 1970s or late 1960s. And it is seen that many of these countries are now going through a cycle of growth. Countries like Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa has been actually ascending this growth for a while. But there are many countries in Africa right now that they are ascending a lot of growth. Ghana, for instance, has a lot of development. It's beautiful. Along the coastline, Ghana is developing at a very fast pace. And a lot of the development, there is a lot of sustainable consciousness and thought behind those developments in these countries. So as we understand this, as we understand that there is the green wave of sustainable thinking, is decision making is weaving across the world. And we, as professionals who are in the real estate space, whether we are builders or we are realtors or we are educators, we have to understand that there is the need for being sustainable is immediate. And the concept of sustainability being a business advantage is real. And so for us all, it is more important than ever that we understand sustainability. So this is not a very clear screen, but these are the rankings of the most green countries. This is the source of this is the US News and World Report. And the URL is at the bottom of the screen. Basically, if you Google US News and World Report 2023 green rankings of countries, this should come up. But if you can follow along, the most green countries are Sweden, Japan, Norway, Switzerland, Denmark, Finland, Germany, Netherlands, Canada, and USA is number 20. Despite the fact that the USA is one of the leaders of the world in many things, and technology and trends, many things, the world follows the United States. We have a lot of resources. We definitely lead the world in a lot of thinking. But the reality is that the United States has work to do. It is right here above China. Over here is the United States. And when you consider, and I've left out a few because everything wasn't going to fit in, as you all can tell, I was born and raised in India. I am from India. So it is, I put India on the rank. India is number 50. When you consider the population of India and GDP. And so that's why I invite you all to kind of take a look at the, data where it is online on the report itself. It's very interesting. When you see the correlation of the GDP of these countries, the resources of these countries, the fact that India is at number 50, despite the fact that its per capita income is so low, that tells me that this is something very important to the world. We cannot ignore it. We cannot do anything but understand and embrace it. And then comes to the point of, as we understand it, what are we go on a very philosophical level? What do we agree to conserve? What are we going to save? We can only save what we understand. We will, in the end, we will conserve only what we understand and are allowed to experience. So it is with this thought that I bring these perspectives that are out understanding why it is that we need to build sustainable thought, be sustainable in our everyday business practices, and then, of course, put it into our building envelopes. Why behind the building envelopes? Because all human enterprise happens on land. And as you compare these rankings in relation to per capita income and population, you will realize that there's an interesting correlation in one of these things. Another global trend I want to talk about is the Oscars of real estate. So there is an organization, it's called FIAPSI. It's the world's oldest real estate federation. They're based out of Paris, and FIAPSI awards what is called the Oscars of real estate awards. And these awards, for the last time they were held in Miami, the United States of America. I did happen to attend that conference. It was a great event in Miami, and Miami was the host chapter. And just a little bit of global perspective, Florida is the most international state in the country in terms of international transactions. The state of Florida leads the nation. We have led the nation for as long as these transactions have been researched for the last, I think, 8-9 years. The transactions have been tracked for a while, but for the last 8-9 years, Florida has always led, and led to the tune of Florida accounting for about 23% of all international transactions across the entire United States. And then I think California is at 11%, and Texas is at 8%. So everybody else follows Florida, but behind in a distance. And Texas is definitely international, but not quite there with Florida. So despite the fact that these awards were held in Florida, in Miami, Florida, you can see from this tiny screen that I have, and I'm going to move my picture around a little bit, none of the awards were won by a developer out of the United States. The affordable living category, the gold award, was won by Malaysia. Environmental category was won by Taiwan. Heritage category was won by Italy, and retail was won by Austria. And if you want to learn more about these, look up this website, the fiapsipre.com website. If you Google FIAPSI Pre-D Excellence, that's the awards that was awarded last June. We were in Miami in June. So why I bring this up is that the United States is just understanding, and our understanding is expanding, but we are still in a process of growth where we are understanding. We are learning what we are learning. We are learning to keep up with the rest of the world, but we are not leaders in sustainable and green thinking yet. We are definitely getting there. But this is just interesting to me that at these awards, the United States did not play at these playing fields. This was very interesting to me. As I said, sustainability means meeting needs of our own needs without compromising the ability of the future generations to meet their needs. So it's important that we understand what is important for our future generations. So, lot of what we do, any human enterprise, or anything that we do, any human activity, it all happens on land. So land is the ultimate scarce resource, and use of land and the way we use land determines how much of land is going to be left for us in future, and how we can. And some countries have had efforts in reclaiming land. Countries like the Netherlands, they've done an amazing job of reclaiming land. But in reality, all human endeavor happens on land. Nothing happens in thin air. So the preamble to the Realtor Code of Ethics says, under all is the land. All human enterprise and life occurs on land. So our buildings, our houses, our commercial buildings, how we build them, how we use our resources in the most effective way to build them is of great importance to our world, to the way we own the buildings, the way we use the buildings, how much it costs us to build them, use them, and then maintain them. So these thoughts are what is behind one of the, the highest and best use aligned and the highest and best use of resources to build on this land. Planners, land planners, urban planners, even city officials are always making these considerations of highest and best use. What is the highest and best use of a piece of land? And then we add to it the layer of the highest and best use of resources. Where does the life cycle of your building begin? Does it begin with the energy efficient, dryer you put in? No, it begins considerably before that. And that is some of the things that I hope you all take the journey into learning. And this education is necessary for any professional who is working around homes, whether they're builders or they're real estate professionals, even mortgage professionals. I think there is a need for an understanding about the highest and best use of resource principles, not just land. So it is in keeping with these highest and best use principles that we have several green certifications that are in existence. And as far as the part of the Florida Green Building Council, which is a chapter of the U.S. Green Buildings Council, the leadership in energy and environmental design, or the LEED rating, is one of the most coveted ratings for a building. And it is aimed at selecting a sustainable site, integrating operations and regional priorities, incorporating benefits of indoor environmental quality, energy and atmosphere, water efficiency, and selecting of correct materials and resources. All of these go into LEED design or leadership in energy and environmental design. And the U.S. Green Building Council has LEED certifications all the way going from the basic green to silver to gold and to platinum. And there is data about how many buildings in each state are certified LEED or LEED platinum or LEED gold. And these are certifications which establish that a building has achieved a certain level of sustainable building, sustainable design. The other kind of certifications are ResNet. There is the Home Energy Rating System Index. On the ResNet index, lower is better. And so as homes are rated higher, they are less energy efficient. These are some of the ratings. The main key to all of this thought is that conservation of energy is key to all of these green certifications. All of the certifications that are taught, conservation is the key. So what we learn about it is best and most judicious use of resource to build the buildings. And that is the key behind all of these certifications. Other green certifications is the Energy Star. Energy Star appliances are rated for Energy Star. But if a house has only Energy Star appliances, it does not automatically get an Energy Star rating. It is applied to individual appliances, and it helps in energy cost savings. And so your role as a professional is making energy efficiency understandable for your customers. What you are relating to your customers and clients is that the sustainability, building a house or building a building with sustainable features, making most use of resources, is not just environmentally responsible, but it also contributes to their bottom line. It gives them considerable savings in terms of what it costs to maintain the building and how they can use the building and what resources are best used to operate and build the building. And so this is your role as a professional, to bring all of this picture for your clients. The green is the green thinking is for the life of a building. And as I was saying before, green life cycle does not begin with just putting in appliances. So it begins with site selection. It continues with processing, manufacturing, distribution, and end of life and use of resources. A zero carbon building is one which leaves least impact on the environment during the creation and the use of the building. This graphic is not very clear, nor can I make it any bigger, but net zero energy homes are becoming more and more popular. And then you as a professional will need to understand what are the elements of these kind of buildings. So a lot of builders, real estate professionals, and any professional in the real estate industry, in any of our allied industries, everyone wants to be in the luxury home market. Is that true? Can that be said for anybody? I would say yes, right? Everybody wants to sell a luxury home. But today's luxury homes, that the ones that are being built today, are also high performance homes. And what are high performance homes? High performance homes are homes that can be or are rated high on a green certification level, or may have features which offer sustainability as one of the aspects of its building. So from design to site selection to building to what goes behind the walls, what goes into each and every component of these buildings are what makes these homes high performance. And they are focused on efficiency of use, customer benefits, maximum benefits, ease of use. So when you want to learn these, obviously, while I'm introducing the concept today, I am not able to give all of you the entire picture of what is the anatomy of a high performance home. So you learn about the anatomy of a high performance home, site selection to use, to disposal of waste, the whole life cycle, and learn about energy efficient retrofits on existing homes to enhance performance and create savings. This is another aspect of our industry where we have homes that are in existence, right? So how do you find out how to, let's say you're working with a buyer or a seller, or you're working with a couple who just wants to do some energy efficient upgrades to their homes from the perspective of a builder. What kind of advice can you give them? Where do you begin with the metrics of how to retrofit these homes for energy efficiency? You begin with performance testing. And that's also something you will learn from this 2-day course, which is created by the National Association of Realtors. It's a course that I teach, the Green Designation. It is perhaps the most comprehensive 2-day course which addresses new homes or retrofitted homes and gives you an overview of the science behind energy efficient upgrades and retrofits of existing homes. So you will learn how you can incorporate and employ professionals to create metrics on what is the performance of a home. Some of the tests may be blower door tests, maybe infrared camera testing. These are different ways to thermally image a home so that you can understand whether there is air leakage around windows, whether there is inefficiencies in terms of heat gain and loss around windows. And then you can recommend that, these are areas where you're losing energy, and these are areas which is costing you more. And depending on what your customers' benefits may be. So replacing a new one window almost always results in savings. So what is the savings? How long will they be in the property? And then even if they decide to sell, will it increase the value of the property if they do decide to sell? All of these things are things that you as a professional are introducing to them, educating them about. So your role is the relationship builder and, more importantly, the educator. And then you can learn all of these about the energy efficient retrofits and ways to enhance performance and create savings through the 2-day course that we teach from the National Association of Realtors, which is the green designation. It's a 2-day course. There are 2 8-hour modules, and this is a class that teaches about the science of energy efficient homes from site selection to completion. Site selection has to do with alignment, things like, an alignment to the best use of the sun or the best use of trees on the property, best use of the slope of the land, best use of, location and proximity to a roadway. How can materials be brought in? Different things come into site selection, and then you'll learn about energy efficient retrofits, and then how you would bring in professionals who would be part of your team introducing energy efficient retrofits, and then for you to advise your clients and customers to make the best decision in terms of what is the most energy efficient retrofit. And this course is of benefit to builders and real estate professionals, and the education itself is open to everybody. You don't have to be a realtor. You don't even have to be a real estate professional to get the education. Real estate licensee to get the education. The education is open to pretty much everyone. However, the designation can only be earned by a realtor, and there is an application fee, and after that you get the designation. Some of the things that you learn during the 2-day course is you learn about the 7 elements of a high performance home, like a tight thermal envelope. I talked about thermal envelope, where you track to make sure that air is not leaking from your house or outside air is not coming in and compromising, increasing the amount of air that you are having to cool or heat. Smart solar design means that you align your house to the best use and of the sun's rays. This is especially important in the state of Florida because we get so much of energy from the sun. So judicious use of design is a great idea, because as you align the house to the sun, it definitely impacts how much of cooling you will need during the summer months. For instance, if a house is open entirely to the west during the summer months, the western sun comes in hot and high and very, very, it makes the house very difficult to cool. No matter what you do, it becomes very difficult to cool. So these are some of the things that goes behind smart solar design. Then, of course, heating and cooling. To heat and cool, before you heat and cool, are you creating a tight thermal envelope to make sure what you are heating and cooling is staying inside? And then you address indoor air quality, about how indoor air is, whether it is filtered, whether allergens are filtered out. These are some of the things that are addressed in terms of indoor air quality, making sure there are no mold spores that are being introduced from anything that moisture remaining in vents and ducts, different places. Management of moisture is important as part of a high performance homes. And then energy efficient lighting appliances and products, and this is a whole industry. Right now, if you go to any home building show, it's all about the energy efficient lighting, the appliances and products. Like, you talk to Amazon Alexa, and Alexa turns on the water heater, and Alexa turns on the lights, and Alexa tells you the weather. And these are very trendy, and these are very, very much out there. There are homes which have automated, cleaning facilities, homes which have energy efficient heating in the floor. So these are different things that this is like a huge industry to learn about. And then, of course, performance testing. We begin with the performance testing and we end with the performance testing. So today, when you are working with a customer with energy efficient retrofit, for instance, so you begin the conversation with, okay, we need to introduce you to these are the elements of a high performance home. And this is where we are going to test, and we're going to find out that this is how the air is leaking from your house, and these are your recommendations, that you put in these windows, and you put in this kind of insulation around your walls and around your window openings. And then after you do those, then you do the test again to make sure that the homes are the energy efficiency has been achieved. So this is a very important part of understanding green design also. The 2-day course, you will gain an understanding of buyers and sellers' changing expectations about energy and green home performance. And what it has been seen is properties with green homes can sell for more. There are some things called green mortgages. Green mortgages are, I think Freddie Mac has some. Green mortgages are mortgages which offer better rates to homes which have energy efficient features. We don't have a lot of lenders in Florida, but I think they're increasing in number. Marketing the benefits of the high performance features and the smart home technology versus marketing just the features itself is what you would learn to do. So for instance, the benefit of having, let's say, behind the walls, when you're building a home, you have to put in insulation, and insulation itself has changed. So we used to have the batt insulation, the rolls of insulation, fiberglass insulation, which is most common. And then there are ratings for the rolls, different kinds of insulation, even the batt insulation, for instance. And one of the theories of insulating a home is to keep the home breathing. Where you put in the batt insulations, you keep the eaves open and allow the room to breathe in and breathe out. The other way is that you create the HVAC system. The HVAC system provides the main function of allowing the room to breathe, and otherwise creates a tight envelope so that nothing else can intrude into the building. And to do that, you have to have insulation, which is like foam insulation. And in foam insulation, there is open foam and closed cell, open cell and closed cell foam insulation. And there are benefits and pros and cons of each kind that different manufacturers will tell you, that there may be pros and cons of each kind of insulation. And so these are all the things that you will learn the science of, and then what you explain to your customers is the benefits. The features and of the energy cost savings is something that you have to understand, and of course explain those and the benefits to your customers. That's what you will learn during the 2-day green designation model. And then advantages of building a sustainable business model. In addition to just the teaching the green designation, the National Association of Realtors, as a green designee, you become the member of what is called the Green Resource Council. And the Green Resource Council shares marketing materials, shares with you how you can position yourself as an energy leader and an energy efficiency thinker, and communicate that to your customers, and gives you marketing materials to do that, and then articles that you can share on your social media, different things that being a green member of the Green Resource Council will give you. Some other things that the National Association of Realtors has introduced recently is the Pearl Network. And the Pearl Network and the Spark, which is a network within the Pearl Network, and the Green Door, through which you as a professional connect with the public. And you are also able to create orders, if your buyer or seller is interested, I think you can create an order where you can order some of these performance testing from the Pearl certification of homes. So these are some of the things that are uh, things that you will gain as a member of the Green Resource Council. And the thing is, education is very important. So whether you get the designation or not, I have worked with many builders who do not understand really what is behind their own walls. And if I ask them, what is on your, what kind of green features do you have? He'll hand me a spec sheet and say, it's all over there. Because they don't understand, they pay for it, but they don't necessarily understand the technology behind the green features that they are installing inside their homes. So because they have, most of the time, they have a team of subcontractors who are doing this work. So they don't really understand the green features of the homes that they are building and selling. And so it is with realtors. So many times that realtors who are working with new home sales, they don't often understand. If you ask them what kind of insulation does the wall have, they can tell you, okay, that's that kind of, that granite is that grade, and that is the exact shade, and what is on the superficially on the property, but they don't necessarily understand always what is behind the walls. And so this is and then again, how does it help to have that behind the walls? So um, the learning that anybody would gain from this 2-day course would be very beneficial to anybody who is working in this sphere, so to speak. My presentation seems to have fallen asleep. Now, come on. Okay. Okay. So with that said, this is what is some of the things that is involved in earning the green designation. And if y'all are interested, if anybody is interested, my school of real estate, we do offer the green designation. We also offer the CIPS designation. These are some of the designations, the global designation. These are some of the designations that is offered, educational designations that are offered through the National Association of Realtors. And I am a direct provider from NAR. So if you want to have these this education as what you offer, get in touch with me. I have a slide where I have my material, introductory material, but I cannot, either it didn't save or I don't have it for some reason. But I think I am going to stop sharing the screen, and I'm going to put in the chat box what is my phone number. My email address, if anybody wants to get in touch with me. And then I will be around to ask questions. Y'all can send that to the chat, and then CJ and their team will send me the questions, and I will answer to the best of my ability. I will always get back to you if you have a question. And thank you so much for attending. Thank you so much for taking this green journey with me.